Hey gang, it's your boy, and something came in the mail for me yesterday. It is the MM3 NTSC mod chip for my son's PlayStation. So, I figured I'd make a video of it, showing you some of the installation, and to do so, I've just got to go to the seller's website to get the instructions for my particular revision of board. So, I found the mod chip installation guide. I'm going to get that ready to go. Hopefully I don't kill my kid's PlayStation, but we'll see what happens. You guys have seen me pull this apart before, because this is kind of a follow-up video to the D-pad cleaning two-part, I guess, video that I did. You can check that video out. I'll put a card in the video. So, what we'll do is just quickly take it apart. I'll speed this up, because you guys have seen this already. Alright, let's get this shell off here. There we go. So we're going to take off some ribbon cables here so that we can actually access the board. I think I'm going to remove the board so that I don't have to worry about touching any of the input side here for the power, which could be shocking. So let's go ahead and start pulling some things off here. Some ribbon cables to undo, including the optical drive cable. There we go. And I think this is the power for the optical drive, but I don't know. Okay, so we should be able to lift this guy off. There we go. Put that aside. Okay, it looks like this is actually attached to the RF shield. And this is just under here, so let's just get that off. Okay. And I might as well pull this ribbon cable too. Probably just easier to get the shield off. Okay, let's see if we can lift off this shield. And there it is. It's a pretty tiny board. Yeah, let's see what we're looking at here. We are looking for the numbers on the board that tell us which diagram we need to go with when installing this mod chip. We'll have lots of space here, it looks like, to put the mod chip somewhere in around here, or maybe even down in here, so long as that doesn't conflict with anything, rather, in the case. So, this one is a PU23, as you can see right there. That is the board we need to reference to see what diagram we need to follow. So, let's check it out. Alright guys, here's the PU23 MM3 mod chip installation diagram. Sorry for the shaky hands here, I've had too many monster drinks. So, if we go down, we can see that's the chip, this is the board, and those are all the different points I'll need to solder the leads from the MM3 chip onto the board. So I'm not very good with a soldering iron, unfortunately, but what I'll do is I'll put this kind of up in the corner of the screen somewhere so that you can see where I am soldering these points to. But let's get to it. Thinking maybe I should just take this right out of the case. Yeah, let's do that, just to be on the safe side, because I don't want to touch, like I said, any of this stuff over here with the power supply. Just these two screws holding them down. We should be able to just pull this right out. There it is. There's the shield in the back, so I'm just going to set all of this to the side so we can focus on just the board itself. Alright, so it's probably not good to do this right on the table surface, just for the sake of the table. So I've got my ghetto soldering mat here that I'm going to be using to do this job. So here's the mod chip once again. This is what it looks like. Focus. And as you can see, they've got quite a bit of cabling here, and the first thing they tell you is to only use the amount of wire, I should say, that you need. So I'm supposed to trim this up and then start soldering, which is the nerve-wracking part for me because I am not very experienced with soldering. So this whole thing could just be a paperweight after we're done. So I guess we'll see. Fingers crossed. Okay, so I'm going to have the diagram up on the screen now. It tells you where pin 1 through 8 is, and one of these pins I don't think is actually used, so you can tell where pin 1 is because of the little indentation. Let's see if I can get this to focus. So, come on. See that little notch at the top of the chip? Pin 1 is to the left of that notch. So, we'll start planing this out. It is really difficult to see from this bird's eye view, so let's see if this works. I'm using my phone because it's the best camera I have. Okay. Alright, all I have is a toothpick really for this fine of a detail. So pin 1 goes right here on this little solder point right there that I'm pointing to. So that's not a terrible point to be soldering to. It's not really close to other things, but I do have a rather general purpose soldering iron. So it's got quite a large tip on it. So I'm hoping that's not going to be a problem. Looking at some of these other solder points, it looks like it may be, but we're going to see how it goes here, and hopefully we don't blow anything up. I know I don't need that much, so I'm going to cut some of this off now, so just make it easier on myself. Okay, I know these aren't the greatest looking things, but they'll work. So. Man, these cutters on this needle nose pliers set are just garbage. Let's see if we can strip the end of this now. To do that, I might just use a utility blade or an X-Acto knife. Alright, I imagine this should do the trick. So let's give it a shot. Hopefully I don't bleed. We don't need to expose much of the wire, just enough to get our solder, because if we have too much, then we're going to have another problem with it shorting out potentially with other components on the board. Now, I'm using some substandard tools to do this job, obviously, because I am not a professional and I do not have experience in these matters, so chances of me screwing this up are pretty good. Okay, so we've got that exposed. It's not a terribly long amount, so I think we should be safe for what we are soldering it to. So it's time to plug in the soldering iron, tin up the end of that wire, and see how that goes. And while I'm waiting for that, I'll see if I can get some better lighting in here. Okay, I've got my soldering iron heated up now, and getting ready to tin up that wire and see if we can put it on. The tip of the soldering iron isn't as large and unruly as I thought it was, although it is quite large to be working on this board, but with all the old solder cleaned off of it, it looks a lot more manageable. So switch back to the other view. Here is the first nerve-wracking moment. Let's see if we can tin up this wire just with the solder that's still on the soldering iron. I don't have any flux or anything either to help the solder go where it needs to be. I guess I'll have to put some fresh solder on here. I don't really like how I have my setup here because it's not easy for me to get to it, and I don't want to screw things up. So what I'm going to do is just turn this board so that I can access it easier with the iron. Still going to be a tight fit. Look at that. Look at that tightness right there. It's going to be really, really tricky. Okay, let's give it a shot. I guess it'd be smarter to cut all these to length, tin them, and then thread them, but then you don't know if it's going to be too much. Okay. Wow, shaky, shaky. We can just get it to tack. Then I might be able to, you know, get a blob of solder on top of it. That's stuck. Woot! That's awesome. That looks like it was successful. Doesn't wiggle after I touch it. I'm just gonna zoom in with the camera, see if I can. My eyesight apparently is not that good, so let me see if I can figure out with the camera if I've actually got it right. Sorry for the bumping. I don't see any bridging or anything. Looks like a good solder for somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. Okay guys, so what I've done is figured out my next wire that I need to route, and that's going to be wire 3. This wire from pin 2 doesn't seem to be used for anything, so what I've done is just knotted it and kind of set it off to the side so it doesn't interfere with anything. Figure out what to do with that later, I suppose. Don't even know why there's a wire on it if you don't need it at all. So that being said, the place where this next one's got to go is on the left-hand side of this middle. I guess this is a capacitor. I don't know what it is, but it's super friggin' tiny. I don't even know if you guys can see that. So tiny. So it's got to go on the left-hand side. This is going to be the most nerve-wracking one of all. So what I'm just going to do is route the wire first. I think we're going to go up this side of this chip and up here just so that it holds it in place, and then we will cross our fingers, hold our breath, and see if we can get this wire on. Let's see if shaky hands here can do this. Jesus, this looks so difficult. Okay, with these tiny capacitors, you can easily tombstone them, and what that means is that you can just lift them right off the board and have them like flip over, or have one end stand up and the other end come off the board. So they're not on here with a hell of a lot of solder. So that's my big concern. So I'm hoping with the amount of tinning I put on this wire, it'll just kind of tack in place, and then I can just leave it. And just double checking my thinking as to where this is. Yep, left side in the middle of the middle. Okay, let's give this a shot. See what happens. Yeah, there's a ton of extra wire here. Okay. Come on. Too shaky. Might have to trim this wire. It's just too much. which means we'll have to strip more, which means we'll have to re-tin. Ghetto. Totally ghetto. There we go. Okay, let's get our dangerous X-Acto knife and shave some more of this shielding off. Not too much though. Okay. I think that's more than enough exposed, and we've got a lot less wire to flex around and fiddle with, so this should hopefully stay on better. We'll bend this wire a bit so it's pointed down. Less tension on it. Look at that ugly blob of solder there. Let's tin the ever-loving love out of it, if we can. I guess that's a good tip for anybody who's trying to do this in the future. Do not drink 2 Monster energy drinks. Especially the ones with coffee. If you want to do this. There we go. Nice blob on there for us to work with. Alright. Let's try this again. Nope, almost. Come on. Well, it's on there. Is it on there enough? And is it bridging anything? Take a quick look. Damn, I can't tell. I'm gonna pick it up and look. Hopefully it doesn't come off. Not bridged. You can see that, I don't know. Let's see if I can get it to focus. So it's on barely, but and not bridged, so that's good, I guess. Hopefully it'll stay. I guess we'll find out. Doesn't look like it's touching anything else to short, so I'm not gonna fiddle with it any more than I have to. Okay, so found pin 4. It is way the hell over here. Show you exactly where. And it's a nice one this time. It's not a capacitor or anything like that, but it is right beside one. It is this tiny little, I'm guessing these are test points, but it's this little test point right here that pin 4 goes to. So I'm going to zoom in on that so you can see it a little better. Camera stop wobbling. Camera stop wobbling. Okay, so it is just right here. That guy right there. So much like the first pin over here, pin 1, it's got this nice little bit of test pad, I'm guessing, to solder to. So that shouldn't be as nerve-wracking as what I just did on that other capacitor. And a better connection, probably. So let's route that wire, and we'll be almost at the halfway mark. I bet you guys like this part the best, where I put a sharp blade to my thumb. A bunch of sadists. Maybe it's my shaky hands that you like the best. Comment below and tell me which part of this you found the most nerve-wracking or appalling. Especially if you do this kind of stuff legitimately. And not just some dude at his kitchen table with a run-of-the-mill soldering iron and no tools. Okay, so I think that's all the shielding off. What do you guys think of my first attempt at working on a printed circuit board of this much of a micro freaking experience? It's a little nerve-wracking, I have to say. Okay. Let's see if we can get this to tack up nice and quick and move on. Okay. There we go. Oh, can't do that left-handed. Alright. I have to turn some stuff around here. Yep, there we go. That's better. Not so shaky with the right hand. This is probably way more wire than you want to leave exposed, like run on the board, but I am not taking any chances with this, because this is kind of like a one-shot for me. If this does not work, I will never try it again, probably. The shakies. I'll cut that out. Okay, it's on. Man, oh man. I am not used to this. I do not see how these tech guys do this all the time. Let's see if I can get a little bit of extra solder on here, just to make myself feel good about it. Because we can actually do it here. We've got a little room to work with, so hopefully I don't bridge anything. Ball of solder on the bottom side of my iron. Shaky. Monster. Killing me here. There. I feel better about that. I do, I really do. Okay. Whew. We're like almost halfway done. Okay guys, so I've determined the next point on the board that we need to solder, and that's pin 5, and it is right here. This little, another easy ground point or testing point. Yay! I don't know if these are testing points. I don't know what the hell these are. They're just nice beefy pads that I know that I can work with my soldering iron. This wire might get a little singed, so maybe we should try and bend that out of the way. Just a bit. There we go. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and cut this to length, which is going to be relatively short, and go ahead and tin it up and get it on there. Got my rusty ass side cutters again here. Come on. You can do it. There you go. Alright, let's strip this. And please, you know, if you're gonna do this on your own, you know what you're doing. You know I'm doing the wrong thing here. So please do not use an X-Acto knife to strip wires. It is not the safest way to do this. And don't do this while you have shaky hands either. This is like a definitely those who can't teach moment here. Okay. I think I've got all the casing off, and I didn't expose too much wire. Wonderful. Okay. Nice bit of solder, however you want to call it, on that. There we go. Pretty good. Get that excess off as much as we can. Reduce the mass of that tip. Not usually what you're interested in doing. But let's not go there. Okay, come on, Rizzo, get it together. It's a family-friendly channel, y'all, allegedly. See if I can get in a better position here to do this. There's our point again. In case, just to make sure I'm reminding myself correctly, it is right there. Let's get her done. That's on there. On there enough. That's what I'm gonna say. Okay. Wow, look at that. We are now officially past the halfway point with only 3 wires remaining. I'm gonna check that out. Probably take a quick break for my nerve's sake, and I'll be right back. Took a little break there, get my head back into this. And I'm glad I did, because we are looking at yet another really, really small component that we have to attach this next wire to, and it is kind of hidden at the moment by this lovely twist job that I did on this wire, which I'm going to attempt to undo now so that it is not in the way. Okay, hopefully that's enough. The location of this next wire is right at the top of this tiny capacitor right here. That's what I have to attach it to. That is freaking ridiculous. That's even smaller than this other one up here. This could be it, guys. This could be where I screw this whole thing up. So cross your fingers, do a little prayer for me, because if I mess this up, I don't know how I would fix it. I just don't see any way around it. But that's where it's got to go, right on just this end of this little guy right here. Cut our wire again. Make sure it's not too long. This is number 6 we're working on right now. Okay. My eyes are bugging out on me because this is so tiny. Make sure I got enough shielding away. Yep, looks good. Good enough. Anyways, I hope. So that is one tiny component. Alright, let's tin this up. Sure, this would be a hell of a lot easier with flux, but like I said, I don't have everything I need here. Okay, I suppose that's good enough. It's gonna have to be. Let's just revisit what we're going to be attaching it to, which is this little guy right here. Not looking forward to this next one. Not at all. Okay, let's get this more centered. Okay, it's right there. Right there. Okay, enough screwing around. Wow, that looks like a lot of wire next to that really, really, really tiny component. Okay, let's try twisting this wire down. There we go. Make it work for us, not against us. There's just nothing to put it on. Jesus, Murphy, how do you do this? The only thing I can think to do is to get more solder on here and then just hope that it globs onto the end better. I'll try that, because this is not working. Okay, take 2. So, as you can see, I've got quite a bit more solder on there now. Let's see if we can get it to adhere without bridging a bunch of shit together. I don't got too many attempts at this. Is that on? Oh my god. I'm gonna have to double check. One sec. If it is, that is the most tenuous solder joint in the world. Ever. And is it bridged? Quick magnification. I'm just gonna look at this off camera because, yeah. Okay, it's on, and it is not bridged. Amazingly. So, let's just go with it. Let's hope number 7's easier. Let me just take a quick look. Oh, thank the Lord. Okay, so number 7 is this pad. Am I in here? Yeah, it's this pad right here. So that's not going to be a problem as long as I don't touch this capacitor, this chip, or this wire, because that's another really tenuous and weak solder right there. So just in case I didn't catch that, this is number, what are we on now? 7? 7. Number 7 is right here on this test pad, or whatever that glob is, so it should be pretty easy to do. So let's get that done. I always want to strip away too much, so I'm not used to working with such small components. Honestly, guys, the only thing I've soldered prior to this is like speaker wire. Fixed a couple of toys, fixed some speaker wire. Nothing this tiny. Definitely nothing, you know, not a PCB that's this precise. So, okay, let's check and make sure. Yep. Okay, let's give this a try. So this one's just going to be hanging out kind of loosey-goosey, I suppose. And I think I left way too much wire on this one, but let's see if we can get it done anyway without wrecking anything else. Well, it's on there. Not the greatest soldering job in the world, but neither are the rest of them, so should I drop a tiny bit of solder on top? I suppose it wouldn't hurt anything. Let's see. Well, it comes right off when you touch it, so that's not good. There, I feel better about that. That's a better joint. Okay. Not great, still, but better. For gosh darn. Okay, so I was so excited we were getting close to the end. The last wire is a really easy one, but I just noticed something. Do you notice something? Look at this. This guy came off. This little guy. It's probably the weakest solder point on this whole board, and it came off. So I guess that's not surprising. I'm gonna have to try that again. I do have some tiny bit of solder left on the tip of my iron, so I'm gonna try and retouch that real quick. Hopefully I don't screw it up more than it was, because that was a really weak solder with not much to attach it to. And I felt like I kind of got away too easy with it, and I guess I did. Shit. Did I just bridge that? I did. I want to get off of there. No! 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 I just tombstoned it. Fuck's sake. Okay. Well, we can fix that, but I'm not doing it on screen. I mean, I'm gonna have to get my head real close in here and see if I can get it back to where it was. Man, that's so tiny. God damn it. It's just gonna stick to the tip of the iron too. Let me clean that off. Gotta get as close as I can here. Shit, it just came off. Almost. What I don't want to do is change the orientation of it at all. So if I do that, I can't see it. It's too small. Okay, I'm just gonna take a quick break and see if I can fix this off camera because I can't do it from this distance. Okay, I think it's okay. I do. I think I fixed it. I found one of these little jewelry loops that I remembered I had, and I was able to get a pair of tweezers and hold that tiny capacitor, resistor, whatever the hell that is, and heat up the one end of it, and thank God I don't think the orientation changed. I'm really nervous that I've screwed up this board, but I think it's okay. Now I gotta reattach that thing. So this is gonna be another nerve-wracking moment for me. I'm gonna resolder that, but I'm gonna have to get real close to it so I can't show it to you on camera, and then we'll finish up with the last solder. But that's gotta be that one and that other, pin 6? Those two are the hairiest parts of this mod job. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I fixed it. It ain't pretty looking, because I freaking hope it works, because I could have just bricked or killed this PlayStation just by what I did there. That's what happens. I guess you need the right tools for the job, but we'll see. I'm gonna do this last solder. Weld. Might as well be with the amount of globs I'm putting on some of these things. I'm gonna do this last solder point, and because it's relatively easy. The last wire is on another one of those test pads or big globs of solder on the board, so shouldn't be a problem. Let's see, I've got that there. So the last solder point, number 8, is right here. So there's no real danger of tombstoning anything or screwing it up like I did with that other one. And something else just let loose. Awesome. This is going so well. And it's the other small capacitor too. Of course it is. Look at that. Came right off the top of that. Anyways, let's get this, I don't know why, but let's get this last one soldered on. Okay, it's tacked in place. Let's get a little more solder on here. I didn't even do that on camera, jeez. Okay, so. Come on, focus. Focus. There we go. So as you can see, I tacked that one in place. I did it off camera by accident. I didn't realize that was happening. Sorry. Let's see if we can get a little fresh solder on top of that pad. This is so professional, guys. So professional. You don't even know how professional this is right now. Okay. See if I can finish tacking this on. That disgusting contaminated glob I have on there now. Needs more. Needs more paprika. All right, that's that one. The most ghetto mod you've ever seen. Okay, let's see what happened with this one now. Okay guys, so this is it. It's definitely not the prettiest thing in the world. Definitely got some problems. This one here, which is number 6, which is very, 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 very weakly welded to the top of that resistor, capacitor, whatever the hell it is. So I'm going to throw the case back together. I've got it sitting in here. I'm going to put some electrical tape around the chip, the mod chip, to make sure it doesn't, you know, ground to anything. I've checked all my other welds. They look to be okay. They're not bridging anything. The only one that's suspect really is this one, which is the one where I tombstoned it. So I'm going to go ahead, put it back together here. I'll bring it into my kid's TV, fire it up, and see if it works. Alright guys, we got the moment of truth here. So I've got a backup copy of Parappa the Rapper in the PlayStation that we just modded. Let's close the lid, turn it on, and see what happens. It's not making very good sounds. And it's not recognizing the disc. Well, let's shut it off before it explodes. Try that again. Because I don't think it actually realized there was a disc, so I could have just done something else. Let me see. Like it's not spinning up correctly. No. Hear that? Okay, let's take a look, see if anything came loose when I put it back together. See if there's anything else we can do. Let's try a regular disc actually while we're here, just to make sure that it still works. I didn't completely break it. Okay, let's get a copy of Tekken in here. See if it recognizes this disc. Still making that really sickly spin up sound. Yeah, there's something else weird going on here. Maybe I didn't hook up the optical drive right. Alright, back to the drawing board. Okay guys, so I've taken the casing apart again. I've taken all the screws out. I'm just going to check and see if any of these wires have undone. If any of these super weak solder points have come loose. This one's good, this one's good, that one's good. That one's good. This one over here is okay. This one's good. This one is still connected, the one that I tombstoned, so at least the wire doesn't look like it came off, but I don't know. It's something to do with the way it's spinning up and detecting the disc, so it could be that when I tombstoned that component, that it could have misaligned it or destroyed the component with excessive heat. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if any of these solder joints are really good enough to cut the mustard here. So just looking at things that could be connected to the CD-ROM drive, pretty much everything on this side looks like it's connected to the CD-ROM drive, because this is where the ribbon cable goes for that. So, could be really any of these 4 solder points, but I would say that that one's probably the one that's doing it right now. I don't know. I might have just totally screwed it up. I might check with the seller in the meantime just to see if they can offer any insight as to what could have gone wrong. I'll be as descriptive as I can in the email, send him some pictures, see what he says. But other than that, I'm going to try just maybe redoing this wire if we don't come up with anything. Okay, whew. I feel better now. So I contacted the seller of the mod chip and sent him some pictures, and he pointed out a few things to me about my installation that were a little bit off. First of all, my wires are too long, and a couple of my solder joints were not so good. I think the real reason though why it didn't work is because of that tombstoned capacitor, or it's a resistor, a tombstoned resistor. So for the last like 2 hours, I've been reflowing this resistor and using tweezers and trying to get it to like the exact perfect spot. And finally, it works again. Now this is with a standard PlayStation disc, so at least I didn't kill my kid's PlayStation. I'm gonna take another attempt at it, but I'm pretty sure it was that resistor that caused it not to work. Alright guys, so just to show you, here is the board with the chip removed. Again, here is the chip. These wires are way too long apparently, so I'm going to reinstall it now off camera with shorter wires, just because it's so damn hard to solder tiny little resistors like those and capacitors like these with this camera in a rig. So what I'll do is I'll actually take a picture and put it up on the screen while I'm talking here to show you what the reflowed resistors look like now that I've got this thing working again. So there you go. Okay, I'll be back with the reinstalled chip. Okay, that was not fun. So, I've gone ahead and re-soldered all of the points from the chip to the board. I think I've done a better job at routing it, although not at insulating it, as you can see. So if I zoom in here, you'll see that there's quite a few points where this chip could touch other components on the board. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some electrical tape on the board around the chip so that when that plate goes back on top, the RF shield, it's going to not cause the chip to make contact with the other components. So I'll show you some video of that in just a minute before I put the other RF shield on. Okay, so I got a little bit of insulation, a little bit. I wrapped it in electrical tape and then threw some duct tape on top of that to stop it from sticking to the RF shield in case I have to take that shield back off again. But I feel a lot better about it this time around, so let's put it back together and we'll test it out. Alright guys, so as you can see, it is now evening. Just got the case back together. I didn't even throw all the screws in, but there is a standard PlayStation disc in there right now, Tekken 3. Let's make sure that that still works. Sweet! Okay, so the fact that that works might mean that I've actually got this thing modded correctly. Let's just make sure it hits the game. Yep, okay. Namco presents one of the greatest fighting games of all time. Okay, now let's try Parappa the Rapper. As you can see, that's a backup of Parappa the Rapper. Let's see what happens. Come on. Oh no, it didn't work. Okay, well the good news is at least I didn't break the PlayStation. Now I just back where I started, so I'll get back to it and see what I can figure out. Okay guys, I've don't know what's going on. I've reflowed the joints on the chip a few times now, the ones that looked kind of suspect, so hopefully this works. Here's Parappa the Rapper backup. Let's see what happens. Yeah! Finally! Jesus, that took forever. Alright, let's make sure it works too. God, I love this game. Se7en Modding. I gotta believe! Oh, thank God I hung in there. Okay. Well, thanks so much for hanging in with me here while I got this PlayStation modded. Next step, as I said, AV capture cable, and then I'll be streaming Parappa the Rapper for days. No, I'm kidding. Probably just one time. But thanks so much for watching. I'm so freaking glad this is over. I've been your boy. Check out my links below. Peace.